is a region that is often misunderstood. It's a region of immense natural beauty, a rich culture, and the most faithful and hardworking people you could ask for. But Appalachia has a dark underbelly. The crimes that happen here are as twisted as the winding hollow roads and as mysterious as the forested hills. Join me as I take you into the deepest parts of Appalachia by discussing stories of stranger-than-fiction crimes that could only happen here. I'm your host, Courtney Lucas, and this is Mountain Misdeeds. Welcome everyone to our very first episode. Like you just heard in the intro, my name is Courtney Lucas. I am a writer who was born and raised in Pottsville, Kentucky, which is part of Appalachia. I am also a big consumer of true crime podcasts, so I decided to combine my passions and Mountain Misdeeds was born. I hope that this podcast will provide fascinating looks at some lesser-known true crime cases while also informing you about the Appalachian region. This week, I'll be covering the case of Eric C. Conn, a larger-than-life Eastern Kentucky lawyer who was convicted of the largest Social Security fraud scheme in history. I couldn't think of a better way to introduce you to Eric C. Conn than through one of his commercials. This song is a parody of Man of Constant Sorrow, which gained popularity after it appeared in the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? The song was recorded by bluegrass legend Ralph Stanley in the 50s, and Stanley appears alongside Conn in the video, but the main vocals are provided by Amber Lee Ettinger, a singer, actress, and model who starred in a 2007 viral video in which she sang about her crush on Obama. Conn was seeking appointment to the Federal Social Security Advisory Board, and, in typical Eric C. Conn fashion, he thought that a viral video would get President Obama's attention. It didn't work. For those living in Eastern Kentucky, the video was no surprise. The area was covered with Conn's bright yellow billboards, twice the size of a normal billboard, complete with a photo of Conn and a life-sized mannequin perched on top, waving to the cars passing by. His ads in the local newspaper took up a full page, the same bright yellow, with his disembodied smiling head floating in the corner. His radio ads ran for minutes, featuring the same jingle over and over. He gets the job done, that's Eric C. Conn. He hired attractive women clad in tank tops and short shorts to appear alongside him at public events. We called these women Conn hotties. He even went as far as to have a 19-foot-tall Lincoln statue commissioned and built in the parking lot of his office. This Lincoln statue, base included, is still the second largest seated statue of Lincoln. The only one larger is the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. But Conn's TV ads really took the cake. One ad was completely in 3D.
Come with Eric C. Conn to the future. 3D. It's here. See what attorney Eric C. Conn can do for you.
Another ad featured Conn driving around in his Rolls-Royce, while a dramatic movie trailer-style voiceover lauded his dedication and skill as a lawyer. The commercial ended with lines that became iconic to everyone living in Eastern Kentucky in the 2010s. Eric, we need you back.
I never left.
Conn was everywhere, but he wasn't always Mr. Social Security. Not much is known for sure about Conn's early life, but he was born in eastern Kentucky. He graduated from Ohio Northern University in 1988 with a law degree and served in the Army in the 90s, leaving with the rank of captain. He claimed to have seen action in Desert Storm, but this was later disproven. He opened his law office in 1993 in Stanville, Kentucky, a small town with a population of around 400 people. This office consisted of one mobile home given to him by his parents. Conn's first appearance in the spotlight occurred in 1997 when he was selected to represent Natasha Cornett, who, along with 5 other teenagers from my hometown, Pikeville, Kentucky, murdered 3 members of the Lillylid family near Baileyton, Tennessee. The case, which I will cover in detail in another episode, was a sensation due to the gruesome and random nature of the crime, and because the murderers claimed to be children of Satan. Conn was eventually removed from the case for failure to replace his co-counsel. Although Conn started out in just one mobile home, his business quickly grew as he shifted his focus to Social Security, and soon, Conn's office became a group of several mobile homes, and he had up to 40 employees. So what went wrong? We all suspected Conn of something. His advertisements and the way he flaunted his wealth gave off a sleazy vibe. From the outside, he seemed to be all style and no substance. He was a local character. We all wanted to see the show, but we were wary to take him seriously. But he got results. Between the years of 2005 and 2015, the Social Security Administration paid Conn's firm $23 million, around $6,000 per case. In 2010, he was the 3rd highest paid disability lawyer in the nation, and he had a 99% success rate. This is what allowed Conn to live his lavish lifestyle. He lived in a 10,000 square foot home in my hometown, Pikeville, Kentucky, that cost $1.5 million. He dated and married women significantly younger than him, and most of them were from outside of the U.S. One of Conn's girlfriends was porn star Raven Riley. She recorded a video of herself yelling at Conn. It's unknown if Conn had anything to do with the video, which seems scripted. Hear for yourself.
Fuck you, Eric C. Conn. I can have any man I want. I don't need you. I was tired of your ass anyways. You think you get the job done? There was plenty of times where you didn't get the job done for me.
Conn has been married at least 6 times, but according to former employees, that number might be closer to 12. The longest of these marriages lasted a year and a half. The shortest lasted only 1 day. And Conn's flashy lifestyle wouldn't last either. In West Virginia, Jennifer Griffith and Sarah Carver were employees at the Huntington Social Security office. Their job was to review the ways cases were handled and to flag any irregularities. One judge, Judge David Doherty, stood out. He had intercepted cases that were not assigned to him and took possession of them. All of these cases were represented by Conn, and virtually all of the rulings were favorable toward Conn's clients. In some instances, Judge Doherty awarded benefits to Conn's clients without holding a trial at all. Conn's clients were typically awarded benefits in as little as 30 days, while others waited for over a year. When Griffith and Carver raised their concerns, they were put through new trainings, had their activities at work monitored, were denied promotions, and were even followed. Judge Doherty helped the Huntington office move through cases quickly, and in an area with a lot of disability cases, they didn't want to disrupt that flow. In May 2011, Griffith and Carver contacted a reporter at the Wall Street Journal. This expose led to investigations by the Senate, FBI, and Social Security Administration. Conn, in an attempt to save face, destroyed pounds and pounds of documents and hard drives and released his infamous commercial,
"I never left,"
dismissing all the claims against him. The investigation ultimately discovered that Conn hired doctors to perform evaluations in his office, and all of these doctors had previously had their medical licenses suspended. Allegedly, Conn referred to them as whore doctors because they would do anything for money. Typically, they examined patients for as little as 15 minutes, if they examined them at all, before signing one of 5 template medical forms that had already been filled out to indicate disabilities that the patient may or may not have. Other medical information provided by the patient was collected but ignored. This led to multiple clients having identical forms, an impossible coincidence. Sometimes Conn went as far as having X-ray images fabricated for his clients. Conn then paid Judge Doherty between $8,000 and $14,000 a month to approve disability payments for his clients based on the faulty medical documents. Many of Conn's clients were truly disabled. They had no idea that the medical evidence submitted by Conn was fraudulent. The first blow to Conn's clients came in May 2015 when disability payments to more than 900 Conn clients were suspended by the Social Security Administration without warning. Local lawyer Ned Pillersdorf, a rival of Conn's, along with State Representative Hal Rogers, worked to get those benefits reinstated. But that wasn't before tragedy struck. According to the wife of Leroy Burchett, a former Conn client, her husband fell into a deep depression after losing his benefits. A week later, he woke up angry, cursing at his wife and kids, pulled out a gun, and shot himself. At least one other former Conn client died by suicide after losing their benefits. In one redetermination hearing, the court's opinion stated that Conn's clients received less due process than terrorists. Their benefits were stopped before criminal charges were even brought against Conn, and there was no evidence they were aware of the scheme. Why were Conn's clients being punished when Judge Doherty's conduct was allowed to continue for years? In April 2016, a federal grand jury indicted Conn on charges of falsifying medical evidence and bribery. Surprisingly, Conn pleaded guilty to 2 felony charges. According to the Lexington Herald-Leader, the plea deal he accepted called for 12 years in prison, a repayment of $5.7 million to the Department of Justice, and $46.5 million in restitution to the Social Security Administration. Ultimately, Conn was part of the largest Social Security fraud scheme in history, and he stole nearly $500 million in taxpayer money. Judge Doherty was indicted on 7 counts, and psychologist Bradley Adkins was also charged with signing false medical evaluations. Conn was guilty, his clients had their benefits restored, and all was well in eastern Kentucky. Right? If that was the case, this wouldn't be an episode of Mountain Misdeeds. After his 2017 guilty plea, Conn was placed on house arrest, but he was allowed to attend a meeting with lawyers in Lexington on June 2nd. You might see where this is going, but I'll let the FBI tell you.
On Friday evening, he removed his GPS monitoring device, or his ankle bracelet, which was found along I-75 in Lexington.
Eastern Kentucky was abuzz with theories. Country music star Tyler Childers expressed his theory in a tweet saying, Eric C. Conn is sitting on top of one of his billboards like one of his mannequins waiting for this whole thing to blow over. Others thought Conn might be hiding out in a secret bunker in the Lincoln statue, built just for this purpose. While most thought he was still somewhere in the U.S.,
I never left.
Others thought he was living it up on a beach somewhere. Cuba was a popular choice for betting pools. Yes, there were betting pools. But Mexico, Aruba, and Brazil also had their fair share of supporters. Twitter user @AshleyLHoward1 said, Eric C. Conn is a legend. Hope Johnny Depp plays him in the movie. Conn was on the run, but he wasn't out of the loop. Reporters at the Lexington Herald-Leader received emails believed to be from Conn outlining his terms for surrender. These terms included, among others, an apology from the FBI, for there to be no charges brought against him for his escape, and for the Herald-Leader to stop publishing his unflattering mugshot. Unfortunately, these emails were impossible to trace. Eric C. Conn wasn't in Cuba, Mexico, Aruba, or Brazil, nor was he found in eastern Kentucky. The news came in December 2017, 6 months after his ankle monitor was found in Lexington. Eric C. Conn was captured leaving a Pizza Hut by Honduran authorities. Honduras? In the emails sent to the Herald-Leader, Conn claimed to be in a country that did not have an extradition treaty with the U.S., but Honduras does have an extradition treaty with the U.S. Even people who were critical of Conn expected him to be smarter than that. There were two main attitudes when it came to Conn. One attitude is expressed by Twitter user @DebbieOwens. Bring this SOB back to Kentucky to face a life in prison for screwing those poor people. Others likened Conn to folk heroes like Robin Hood, Billy the Kid, or D.B. Cooper. Regardless of how the community felt about Conn, his run as Mr. Social Security was over. The yellow billboards came down. Our TVs and radios were a little quieter. Conn's compound of mobile homes was abandoned. The Lincoln statue was moved to a nearby Civil War battlefield. But just because Conn's career came to an end, it doesn't mean that his clients were out of the woods. Growing up in eastern Kentucky, I know what it's like to have people from outside the region judge us. People try to take advantage of us because they believe that we are lazy, uneducated hillbillies. But Conn's actions cut deep. He was born in eastern Kentucky. We speak with the same accent. He took advantage of his own people. And these are people who already have the odds stacked against them. In Floyd County, the county where Conn opened his practice, 30.4% of people live in poverty, and 23.8% of people under 65 have a disability. Those living in the coal-producing counties of Appalachia have higher rates of cancer and disease, higher rates of poverty, and less access to health care. The people Conn took advantage of were some of the most vulnerable. Many of Conn's former clients are still struggling to regain their disability benefits. The Social Security Administration required nearly 1,600 of Conn's clients to go through redetermination hearings to see if they are truly eligible for disability benefits. This is completely understandable, but clients have to provide medical evidence that related to the time when they were first assigned benefits, and for some of them, that was over a decade ago. Some of these clients didn't even have medical evidence from that time because they were only ever seen by doctors bribed by Conn. Even when legitimate medical records hadn't been destroyed and were able to be recovered from Conn's offices, they were immediately ruled fraudulent, and clients were not given the opportunity to challenge this ruling because it was, quote, too expensive, end quote. In some instances, they were given only 10 days to gather their medical evidence before their new trial. I don't know if you've ever tried to obtain medical records from years and years ago, but it's often something that takes longer than 10 days, especially in small, rural hospitals or doctors' offices that do not have digitized files. Some of these people, without their benefits, were unable to pay to obtain their records which they needed to get their benefits back. Of the 1,600 people who had to go through new trials, 800 have lost their benefits, and some of them are responsible for paying money back to the Social Security Administration. There is no way to know for sure how many of those 800 people are actually disabled, but were just unable to access or provide the evidence to prove it. Some clients, like former coal miner Tim Dye, were denied benefits because their disabilities would not prevent them from working in office settings. Dye has a high school diploma, experience in coal mining, and a period of 8 years when he was not employed. His chances of getting an office job are low, if not impossible. But that didn't matter to the Social Security Administration, and similar decisions left people unable to afford food and housing, causing at least 3 families to lose their homes. Ned Pillersdorf, the lawyer I mentioned before who helped get benefits reinstated, has come to the aid of Conn's victims. Even now, years after Conn's arrest and sentencing, he fights to reinstate benefits to those who were taken advantage of by the con man. Even though Conn's escape and recapture were picked up by national media outlets, only local media sources covered the humanitarian crisis that he left in his wake. There is still no evidence that any of Conn's clients knew about or participated in any fraudulent activity. Sources for today's episode include the Lexington Herald Leader, especially reports from Bill Estep, the American Greed Podcast, Chelise L. Conn Greer and the Kentucky Law Journal, LEX 18 News, WYMT News, the Department of Justice, and Twitter. All the music in this episode is from YouTube's audio library and Pixabay and are licensed under Creative Commons. A full list of sources, links, and attributions can be found in the show notes for this episode. Join me next week for an episode about Massey Energy, a coal production company with a 91-year history that saw it become the 6th largest producer of coal in the United States before fines, safety violations, disaster, and death brought the company to its end. Thank you for listening to Mountain Misdeeds. And remember, Appalachia might be misunderstood, and the crimes committed here might be mystifying, but what's done in the dark will always come to light.
I never left.